Okay, so it's been a minute since I've made a video for a lot of reasons. I've been focused elsewhere, so I haven't really been doing this. Not that I haven't been this consistent work that I've been doing since last year, since I started this. Actually, even since Thanksgiving of the year prior, I um, have been on this, journey and path to take all of my active experiences and use them to um, not just assess reality. That's a big part of it, though. Um, to assess like my responsibilities in things on a grander scale, but also to just apply everything that I'm experiencing as creatively and positively as possible. Um, that's my career goal is to be able to utilize my experiences um, for the betterment of anyone that I can, even if it's just one person. But I can't say that without being somewhat facetious, because I've actively watched my influence you know help lots of people and fuck lots of shit up too. So I'm constantly having to keep my wits about me and hold myself accountable and make changes and stuff to make sure that I'm doing what's right. Um, and then letting everybody else, deal with their karma. That's been a big thing for me, is not taking on someone else's karma. Um, I can put it, a good metaphor for it would be the other day, the cat at the house, it's technically my client's cat, but it's not really her cat. It was her last caregiver's cat that they left here. And so like everybody has this love-hate relationship with the cat. I haven't been able to live with a cat aside from when I stayed with this girl here in Austin earlier this year. So, or last year, I mean. So being able to be around a cat and stuff is really cool. And I've bonded with him a lot and stuff. And we have a good relationship, but he is an asshole. And the other day he was yelling because he wanted more food. I'd already fed him, already told him I wasn't going to feed him again. And he was throwing a fit and trying to knock stuff around the house. So I whapped him in the head with whatever I had, but I whapped him and it went like this, and he went and walked away and went and stood in the corner, kind of looked at me all angrily, like he's hurt. And it made me feel bad. And for a second, I wanted to go and apologize. I did apologize to him, but I was like, I'm sorry, but I needed to do that. And my client heard me and was like, don't apologize to the cat. Like, he's being a fucking dick. But it made me laugh because like that is like with the cat, it was easy to be like, no, you're right. You're right. Like, I'm really not sorry. He deserved the discipline. I don't like having to be the one to give discipline. I don't like being made to be that way. I don't like having to be a bitch, but like, I'll do it, and I'm not going to be sorry for it. I'm thankful that I've learned how to be that way, that I've learned how to instill discipline um, in general. So like, that's always been a hard thing for me because I've been able to take my experiences and discipline myself with them. And this like past journey was kind of an example of that, a way that I could prove to myself and thus to others that everything that I had taken from my experiences in order to build that discipline within myself was applicable. But now I'm at the place where I have to also, it can be applicable to me, but what does that really stand for outside of my own survival? And like, what is that if I'm in a world that, is dead and dying and fucking awful? The whole point of me kind of making these changes and being able to do this stuff came from a lifetime of depression and suicidal ideation, and realizing that I didn't need to put, if I had enough energy to put into trying to kill myself all the time, I could put that energy into trying to make my life worth living. Um, and so part of my life being worth living isn't just I've worked extremely hard to be able to come to a point where I can appreciate things, I can receive the good from things, I can really make the most for myself. But I also have to be able to make things better externally too, otherwise, like, if I really was out here just trying to do things for myself, I would have taken any of the $1 million opportunities that have been directly handed to me within the last 20 years. Um, even, like, I've had a lot of opportunities to sell out to different things, and that's the way that I've always viewed it. So that's the reason I haven't taken those opportunities. I have plenty of people that judge me for that. They would have taken those opportunities in a second. They've been working their entire lives for half of those opportunities, and they hate me for not taking uh, taking those opportunities, especially when it's put me in the position of like being where I'm at now, or like, being where I've been in my life. But I'm not here trying to appease other people. I'm here trying to live my life, trying to be responsible for myself. My life is mine. I'm me. I'm not anybody else. I haven't lived the way everybody else has lived. I haven't done what other people have done to begin with. So, like, it's not any, like, I would expect my life to be very different and for me to do things differently. I don't take that as a sign of me, like, somehow not doing something right, or not, I don't need to fit in to be doing what's right, especially not nowadays. And, like, that's kind of a driving concept, I guess, behind my willingness to accept responsibility where it is mine and to release responsibility where it isn't mine. It's something that I learned in the 12-step program, the serenity prayer, to grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it's something that ever since I learned that when I was 20, and I'm 34 now. And, that's something that's been on repeat for me this entire time. It was a mantra that really did stick with me. And, even the keep coming back, it works if you work it. Like, it works if you work it. Has come back and forth and come back around in different ways. This damn hood. But that is the whole concept. It isn't just to take responsibility for all that I can take responsibility for. It's also like being willing to not try to take responsibility for things that aren't my responsibility, and to be able, it comes across like it's a grand release, but what it ends up looking like in, the active application of it tends to be setting strong boundaries, which isn't fun and isn't easy, and, makes you look like a bitch a lot. People makes you look like an asshole, upsets people. I don't like upsetting people. I don't like when people are upset. I don't like when people are mad at me. I don't like dealing with confrontation that way. I generally have always been the type of person that, like, if somebody's upset with me and frustrated with me or different things, like, I will bend over backwards to resolve the situation so that everybody's happy. I'm always trying to make everybody happy. It's, even when people have told me, like, that's not how shit works, and, like, even now that I know that's not how shit works, like, there's still an aspect of me where it's like, that is how things should work, that is how people should be. But at the same time, like, it comes with the balance of being able to set boundaries, because that isn't how everybody is, and that isn't the space that everybody makes allowances for. You can't just make everybody happy, because most people aren't even trying to truly make themselves happy. They're misguided about what their happiness is, and they're doing things that are conflicting their true happiness, and they're setting themselves up, into a whole bunch of different drama, and they're getting other people involved in a whole bunch of drama, and, like, trying to make them happy only keeps you involved in that drama. And, like, it's such a fine balance, because, like, there's all these different responsibilities that you also have to people, dependent on your relationship with them. And, like, those things all have their own different factors. The position that I'm finding myself in right now is that the person that, my client, initially I was someone that was just coming in as, like, a stranger, a friend that she had made on the road. I met her at a bus stop, and like, you know, we hit it off like as friends, and she was giving me a roof over my head. I was doing all this stuff to help out, but like the way that things have evolved, like there was just way too much fucking bullshit going on. And I took it all, and I didn't say shit about it, and I just kept pushing and kept working to the point of being able to actually get paid for the position. So now I'm part of her company, like the company that, you know, cares for her or whatever. I work for that company now, and I'm getting paid. But like that has shed a light on all of the other issues that I'm not like surprised by anything that's going on right now. I already knew that this is how it'd be, and I've been being prepared for it. But that's where we're at right now, is the point of like, I'm not, I'm friendly with this woman and she's friendly with me, but is she actually my friend? Like sometimes, yeah. And like I've always struggled with friendships for those reasons, because like you can have very shallow friendships, you can get along with people, you can enjoy their company, um, while you're doing certain things, but do they actually support you? Or do they actually care about the things that you care about? Are you truly actually invested in the same goals and interests and heart spaces? You know, are you iron sharpening iron? Are you you know, helping them grow? Are they helping you grow? Or is it some type of codependent relationship? And you know, I've worked so hard to uh, break myself from codependent behavior. It's something that's obviously like a consistent working, but that's always been a really big thing for me. So like to be put in this position where like it went from seemingly being one way to very quickly being revealed to be something else, more or less. And what it is an extremely codependent relationship that is funded illegally in many ways, and sustained through manipulation and abusive tactics. Not really something I'm trying to like be a part of. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a part of it, like, because I'm involved in it. I've stayed here and been willing to be involved in it in order to work these things through. Um, but you know, for me, it's also like all of this is like an education for a grander purpose. You know, it isn't just this. I'm an outsider in this position, and like um, as much of an insight as I have, like I will remain an outsider no matter what. So like I still have to be able to focus on my goals and my life and what it is that I'm trying to do, you know, and like finding that balance between the relationship between a friend and a person that you're caring for and a client, the line between, you know, relationships with family members and their friends, and relationships with your own friends and family, and the relationship between yourself and your reality with where you're at and what you're doing. And like, you know, there's all these different nuances and fine lines that, you know, need to be balanced. And uh, it takes a lot energetically. It takes a lot of time and energy. And uh, I don't often have that because I'm consistently working. It's not viewed that way or appreciated that way, and I'm not getting paid for it most of the time. I've been on call literally 24/7 since I got here, but have been treated like I'm only doing, you know, the 8 hours to 10 hours of work that I'm actually accumulating during the day. And even then, I haven't been getting paid for it aside from the last few weeks. And I haven't even received my paycheck because I don't know, my client has a whole bunch of shit going on, and apparently her mail's getting diverted, and there's just a whole bunch of bullshit because she's involved in a whole bunch of bullshit. And like trying to figure out where my responsibility lies in these things and where it doesn't is difficult, because she tries to uh, in- involve everyone in different ways in order to divert the control she actually is harnessing over all of this shit. And like, most people don't recognize those things, but my lucky ass grew up with a woman just like this. Told her the day I met her, she reminds me of my mom, and she only has more and more. I love and care for her and her family. You know, I do my very best, but like not without some emotional struggle, having to process. For me, it's a personal thing because it's like I'm not willing to care for my mom in this way yet. I still have a lot of issues I'm working out with my family, but this is very close to that in a lot of different ways, and it just is teaching me a lot about how to handle those things in different ways. And like it's good for me. I've been learning a lot, and all of it has been good, but at the same time it's been extremely costly. And like I don't know, shit's hitting the fan. I don't have a problem any longer. Like I used to not be able to set those boundaries and stand up for myself and take proper responsibility. I used to take responsibility for everybody else's bullshit. They'd literally fuck, like I would do nothing but try to please them, try to make them happy, try to make sure that everything was okay for everybody. And then certain people would take advantage of that, manipulate that, not appreciate that, and then try to use it to their advantage in order to, you know, do whatever bullshit they're doing. And then when I bring those things up, even if I bring it up in like a mature, responsible way, I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm just trying to express myself. Like it's inevitably going to be an issue. And that used to be really, really hard for me. And I used to just take the L's, for that shit, and like would end up taking responsibility for all of the bullshit because I had made those allowances. I'm no longer making those allowances, and people don't like it. I don't care. I don't care. I've proven that I care what people like when it matters, but I don't care what people like when it comes to compromising myself for it. I care what I like, which is being fucking decent and trying to be as sustainable as possible. I'm not fucking perfect. I do plenty of shit that's not sustainable. Not sustainable. I do plenty of shit that doesn't benefit the community. I do plenty of shit that is purely selfish, and it's not uh, excusable any more than anybody else's bullshit is, and I try like to hold myself accountable and to be willing to be held accountable by others for those things, to be willing to make changes. That's the most I could ever hope for anyone. And it's actually even more than I could, even ask from people. So like, I do my best, but like I said, I can't actually ask that from others. And most people, like, they're doing their best to evade the truth. Their best, all of their energy, all of that good power is going into bullshit, is going into whatever addictions, whatever coping mechanisms, whatever control tactics, whatever, power structures that they've developed, like, or supported. um, Most people do not hold themselves accountable to their highest power, and that is the issue with society. Plain and simple. If everybody, like, I don't get to tell you who God is or what God is or if God even is. It's up to the individual, but most individuals aren't doing that. Most individuals are using their energy to engage in bullshit. And because I make a choice not to, more often than not, um, it's often that people take advantage or are like, they find it intimidating, or they have a problem with it because it just sheds the light on their own lack. Not my fucking problem, to be honest. And that's, I need to stop acting like it is. My feelings have been hurt plenty of times. I've gone through plenty of shit. My life has not been easy. I've done the work. That's why I get to say what I say. That's why I get to stand the way that I stand. That's why I get to do what the fuck I do, because I fucking earned it. You have a problem with that? Go earn it yourself. Like, all I'm doing is trying to teach people and trying to show people. I can't make you like me. I don't even want you to be like me. I want you to be like you. I want you to do your best. I don't know who the fuck that is. You have to tell me. You have to show me. Like, the best I can do is just be myself and worry about myself and make sure that I'm okay. And that then, as long as I'm in proper alignment with that, then I'll be with you in proper alignment when you're in proper alignment with yourself. We'll all be connected. And if that's the choice, if you don't want to make that choice, like, it's hard because so often in taking responsibility for other people's karma, like what that's felt like is this person really has the capacity for so much greater, and I see so much greater in them, and I see that all they need is like a little education this way, a little support this way, a little skill building this way. If they just learned this or saw it this way or felt this way, if they just did things this way, it's so easy to judge things from a third person perspective. But at the end of the day, like, even if I literally had the key to give a person, it's up to them to take it and use it. And that, you know, I've made a point of my life to, I'm always giving my keys. I have my keys out all the time, and I'm always trying to give them to people. It's up to people to be willing to take them. I'm not going to fight through a line of people that actually want to use the key and do good with it, you know, to go give it to somebody that's going to sit there and fight me about it. Like, then you're not ready for it. It's not your time. You don't need it. Like, you have to come to it the same way I came to it. And that's something I've struggled with. And that's an ego issue. It's an ego issue to think that, you know, I have, it's such a balance, but like that in the concept that in receiving my own power, I now have this power to give to others. That's true, but I don't have the power to force my power into others. You know what I mean? Like, I can only empower others into their own power. My power isn't my power. It's God's power. It's the universe. It's my connection to the universe. That is my power. So like, if I'm giving my power, all I'm doing is giving my connection to the universe to someone else to become more connected themselves to the universe. That's what empowerment is, you know, and that's what true power is. So like, me trying to make people happy, trying to compromise myself in order to, I know that this is what's right for this person. Like, no, the fuck I don't. Even if I did, it's not for me. Like, what's for me is to do what I'm supposed to do. And if that is what if I have the right things to give them, it will be given to them through me doing what I'm supposed to be doing and just being myself. You know what I mean? It's not going to come through me compromising myself in order to give of myself in order to help this person have nothing to do with me and find themselves. Like, come on. You know, I've been stuck in so much delusions that way. And like, now that I'm out of it, I can see that it, you know, when I was in it, I was constantly trying to deflect it and trying to act like I wasn't being delusional because I didn't realize how common that mindset was. And I didn't want to be crazy, you know, and I didn't want to be ostracized, and I wanted to be part of things. And that was the whole reason I was being that way in the first place. But like, at the end, like, it's the same concept of, they say, you know, if you're lonely, you're part of a whole bunch of people that also feel lonely. So know that you're not alone in that. You know, that sort of concept. We personalize things, and we shut off, you know, the external reality in all of these different ways. It's so easy to do, and that's what I'm constantly trying to like remind myself to take the time to look at the greater picture. You know, it's not about my feelings. It's about my qualities. It's about what I have to offer. It's about what I have to gain. It's about what I have to, you know, to gain and to offer in exchange for both. And that's it. You know, it's hard because like, if you are in a room full of, you know, people with cancer, and you find that drinking fucking water enough saves you from cancer, like something, even if it's not, like, let's say it's exercise and eating right and not partaking in certain things and making sure that you are partaking in other things. Okay, so let's say there's a whole work that needs to be done, and I've done the work, and I am now cancer free, and I'm still in this room with all of these people that have cancer, and I'm getting released because I'm cancer free now. It hurts to see all of them, these people that I love, I care for. It doesn't matter who's come in and who's come out. I love all of them. I care for all of them. They've all been where I'm at, but I've been there too, and I've seen that like, you don't have to stay there. In fact, you're making yourself sick by staying there and by continuing those things. That if you make these changes in your life and do these different things, that at the very, very least, you'll be much happier with your experiences and dealing with the things that you're dealing with. But you might even become completely healed. And so there is freedom and there is a salvation, and all you have to do is receive it through doing the work. And people don't want to do the work. How am I supposed to just stay in this room full of people with cancer just because they have cancer and I don't? And I did, but I don't now. I did the work. you know, like I did what I was supposed to do, so I don't have cancer anymore. Shouldn't I be able to receive that reward without having to feel bad about it because other people haven't done that work? Especially if I've taken the time to put myself into the position of staying around in those spaces to show people that the work can be done. At that point, it's not up to me. I've already led the horse to water. I can't do any more than that, you know, like fucking drown you. That's what you're gonna do trying to force that shit. Um, you can't force someone to drink, and it's hard. It's a hard balance. It's a hard thing to process. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the ego of responsibility for people that you care for, but that's not how it works. You know, those things are supposed to. Everything is innate. We really don't need to be making these lofty concepts out of everything. And I do. I'm the best at it. I'm the one that does it more than anybody else. I'm the one that's always fucking doing it. You bring me to a fucking house party and I'm off in a corner analyzing and what's it called? You know, expounding on fucking social studies and shit. You know, like I'm always doing it, and it is an ego thing, and like there's a benefit of it, you know, to some degree, but only when it's casual. The second that I start getting in that holier than thou preacher mindset of I have something worth sharing, like that just ain't right. That's not how it's supposed to be. Those things will come out of me if I'm doing it right. They'll just come out. You know, I don't need to sit down and really make, like I had for a time had been planning and preparing to, and I probably will at some point come up with something like it, or at least hopefully influence the creation of something like it. But I had a plan to create a curriculum for healthcare, or for customer service, any sort of care industry, for the care industry in general, hospitality, all that bullshit, and a curriculum for morality of care. Um, you know, you can learn all of your nursing skills, or you can learn all of your maid skills, or you can learn all of whatever physical skills, but uh, the capacity to be able to truly connect with your clients, to offer empathy, and to set healthy boundaries for yourself in order to maintain a professionalism about the way that you go about things is all those are learned skills, learned social skills that most people do not learn. And you know, the care industry is suffering tremendously due to the fact that people have become just self-serving and short-sighted and disconnected from their proper alignment with their highest power. And so you have people that like will spend 12 years in school to learn these skills, to be able to make enough, all this money to be, you know, doctors, surgeons, nurses, run their own practices. And they don't actually care about people, but they're in the care industry. And it's like, well, then what do you expect of the care industry, really, when that's essentially like the people, those are the people that are running it at this point. And, you know, of course, that's the case. I've been in and out of different facilities. I've done home care, I've done hospice care. And throughout all of it, what I've seen is that, like, generally you have skilled workers, and then you have caring workers. And it's rare that you have people that have the qualities of both. And that's normal. That's how people are. That's fine. I didn't go to school to become a nurse. I did what I needed to do to become a caregiver and to be certified, to be able to, you know, do certain nursing tasks. But I didn't go to school, nursing school. And those that have, like, they spend a lot of time and money and energy to get where they're at and to get the titles that they have. I'm not trying to invalidate those things. In fact, I want to validate them more by the fact that you did that work, so you shouldn't be expected to, you know, have to compromise yourself just to appease people. But at the same time, as a caregiver, as a nurse, you are still a caregiver. As a doctor, you're still a caregiver. You know, you never are supposed to get to the point of not caring. It's just that that's a protection method to keep from becoming burnt out. And that's because there's so many people that don't have skilled training but do have a natural knack for empathy, and they end up in caregiving positions, but because they're not doing the skilled training, they don't ever move up in those positions, and they end up either working the same position, minimum wage forever, and getting burnt out emotionally, or they find different jobs. And that's a shame, because we should always be able to put to use the passions that people have, especially for the community. When there's people that actively just care about taking care of people, they should never be forced into a prison with all of these other prisoners that are paying $6,000 a month to be in this prison just to not receive the proper care, when nobody's being advocated for in these facilities and shit. Like, advocacy is uh, of utmost importance in any job, and it's not, especially in the care industry, it's just non-existent to most degrees. Not just, we have systems of advocacy for clients, but they're all based on legalities. There needs to be some sort of advocacy for morality. Not morality in the sense that, like, there's some person determining what is right and what is wrong and how you're supposed to be and how you're not supposed to be. Every individual is different. My last hospice care client, I never cursed in front of him, never talked inappropriately in front of him, never talked about modern, media, any sort of like stuff on TV, any movies or anything like that. The relationship I had with him was a solid, very personal relationship, a very, very close relationship that I built with him. But it was based on his morality, on his religious beliefs, on his standards for how he wanted his life to be, because I was his caregiver, not just his friend. I could be his friend as his caregiver, but I came in as his caregiver, and my job as his caregiver was to care for him, not to make sure that I was being cared for. My job to myself is always to make sure that I'm being cared for. And what that looks like is, if I've come upon a job that is not right for me and isn't properly caring for me, I have to either work out what I can to make sure that it is, to make sure that I can care for the people that I need the way that I need to, or I need to find a different job. There's somebody else for that job. And that's always trying to find those balances too. That's the only reason that I've stayed in this position too, is because there ain't nobody else for this position. It's not an ideal position for me, but it's where I needed to be. It would be very easy for me to have done what I've done in the past when I got into this position of being like, oh man, I waited on the universe to give me what I asked for, and I thought it gave me what I asked for, but this isn't what I asked for, and now I reject all of it because it isn't exactly what I asked for, and I'm going to move on and try to find something else, and eventually just ask for something else. And then when that comes around, I'm going to find another reason to be ungrateful for it, and to, have to keep moving on. I've done that forever. What I found is that, like, nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? This is not perfect. This is far from perfect. This is in no way ideal. However, it is teaching me to be able to actively receive with grace and appreciation all things, regardless, and to find where those boundaries are set as to what I'm willing to put up with and what I'm not, and what I'm willing to be involved with and what I'm not. And for that, I'm incredibly thankful. And the reason that I'm able to have this experience to be thankful for is because I made an allowance based on a willingness to trust the universe, And so I was put into this position that seemed all right at first and then turned into a whole bunch of bullshit, but I continue to trust the universe. I'm here for a reason. It didn't just give me this as a trick, this wasn't a trap. As much as it's set up to be one, that isn't what's going on. The universe is still taking care of me. The universe is still protecting me, still looking over me, and I'm still in alignment with doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm still listening to, my intuition, to my heart, to my gut, to my to myself, to my faith, my beliefs, my standards, and that's the best that I can do anywhere that I'm at. And I haven't been able to do that anywhere else that I've been. So I have to be incredibly thankful for where I'm at. And I don't know, man. Shit's wild. Shit's wild, and shit's getting wilder, and things have been incredibly frustrating. And it's definitely a whole bunch of bullshit. I have no idea how this is going to end up looking on the other end, but I just, just continuing to do my best with shit. And yeah, I've just found I want to keep what I've found in all of these videos that I make is that random people will come across them and they'll benefit them in ways in different ways. And I've, been able to talk with different people and stuff like that who have been like, oh, I actually happen to see this and listen to this and I feel this way and that really helped me and stuff. So to me, that's enough. It helps me to be able to just talk and get this shit out because I don't have anybody else to talk to about any of it. And if it helps other people, by putting it out and stuff and other people to be able to just to get in or out of their own heads, about shit, like then it's good, and I'm thankful to do it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. But I definitely I'm just trying to get into a place where I'm not like having all these set ideas of like this is how things are supposed to be, and I'm doing it right because Lord knows I'm not, ever, and I'm not. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just following the universe, following whatever messages I receive, whatever guidance I receive, whatever I think I'm supposed to do when I feel I'm supposed to do it. And I'm just trusting. And I'm just trusting in it. I'm trusting in it. Things have been wild and they've been changing in a lot of different ways. And everything's kind of coming together in ways I would have never expected. And, I'm just trusting. I'm just trusting the universe. I'm trusting that, you know, when it's my time to go elsewhere, I'll go elsewhere. When it's my time to speak up, I'll speak up. When it's my time to stay quiet, I'll stay quiet. Um, you know, that's my hope. That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do. Um, and yeah, that's how I intend to take responsibility for my reality and to stop taking responsibility for uh, others in their influences over things so that I can't blame anybody else for anything in my reality. I can only blame myself, and nobody else can blame me for shit in their reality. They can only blame themselves, and everybody can get to actually know each other for who we really are and can actually support each other and actually benefit each other for real and not just keep taking advantage of one another. And the whole world will be a better place. That's my goal. Okay, well, that's what I got.